Hi, this is Miss Pellegrin. We're going to look at the study guide for combining like terms in the distributive property. Remember, as you are going through this study guide, you should be trying them on your own. You should be looking and watching for each one instead of doing the entire study guide and then check after each problem. Make sure that you're not just copying, that you actually are trying it on your own. You're welcome to fast forward to the correct answer, and if yours is incorrect, then go back and watch the steps of why, unless you can figure out why it was wrong on your own, which is awesome if you can figure that out too. Okay, so number one, H plus 4H. So they are both like terms because they both have the letter H in them. Remember, there's an understood 1 to be in front of that H. So if we take our coefficients, remember our coefficients are the numbers in front of the variables. We have a positive 1 and we have a positive 4. So they have the same sign, so therefore we're just adding, and we're going to have a positive answer because they were both positive. So number 1 would just be 5H, 1 shape, 1 term. Okay, let's look at number 2. Negative y plus 8z minus 15y minus 22z. So we have negative y and a positive 8. And I could even, let's see, change the color on that. Do his circle around the 8z. Then we have negative 15z, y. So those had the same letter, so they have the same shape around them. And a negative 22z. That was not a very good circle, but that's okay. Okay. So y comes before z, so I'm going to put my y's together first just so the order is correct. So we have negative y, so my coefficient is a negative 1 for the y's. And my coefficient for the other y is a negative 15. So using my integer rules, they both have the same sign, so we're going to add. And we're going to keep that sign, so we're going to have a negative 16. So we have negative 16y. Okay. And then for my z's, I'm going to put them together. My coefficients are positive 8 and negative 22. So they're different signs, so I need to subtract 22 minus 18. Sorry, minus 8. Okay, so I'm actually going to switch the order, negative 22 on top, and then the 8. I can't do this, so I'm going to borrow, make that a 1, make that a 12. 12 minus 8 is 4, and 1. The 22 had a greater absolute value, so my answer is going to be a negative. So we have minus, or negative, 14z. So my expression is negative 16y minus 14z. They are not like terms because they do not have the same variables, so therefore I can't do anything else to them. Okay, number 3. Okay, so I'm looking on the inside of the parentheses following the order of operations, and I cannot do 3b minus 2a because they are not like terms. However, I do have multiplication there with the parentheses. And because there are 2 numbers on the inside of the parentheses, we're actually doing the distributive property. So we need to distribute, multiply the number on the outside times everything on the inside. So we're going to multiply negative 4 times a positive 3b, which gives me a negative 12b. And then I'm going to multiply my negative 4 times, and you need to recognize that sign in front. It is very important. That is a negative 2a. So a negative times a negative is a positive, and 4 times 2 is 8. And then we had the variable, which was a. Those are not like terms, so I can't combine them anymore. All I had to do was distribute. Number 4. Negative 2y minus 5z is inside of the parentheses. They are not like terms, so I cannot put them together. I cannot add or subtract them. But I can do this multiplication, so again I have the distributive property. Negative 9 times negative 2. That is 2 negatives, so therefore it's going to be a positive. So 9 times 2 is 18y. Negative 9 times, and again, recognize that sign in front goes with it. So it is again a negative. So we have a negative times a negative. 2 negatives is going to be a positive. And 9 times 5 is 45. So we have positive 45z. Okay, let's look at number 5. Write an expression for the perimeter. Perimeter means we're going to add up all the sides. Write the expression in simplest form. So we're going to add up all of the sides of the triangle. So we have 3 sides. So 3a minus 1 plus 2a plus 3 plus a. So that's all 3 of the sides added together. It does not matter what order that you're adding the sides in. I could have started with a and then added plus 2a plus 3. That part doesn't matter. But it did ask us to write it in simplest form, so therefore we do need to combine our like terms. So we have positive 3a. Negative 1 is not the same because it does not have a variable. Plus 2a is the same because they have the same variable. Plus 3, not the same because it does not have a variable. And a is the same because it has the same variable. And understood 1 is in front of it. So let's combine our a's first because our variables come first when we're writing an expression. So our coefficients are positive 3, positive 2, and positive 1. They're all the same sign, so we're just going to add them. 3 plus 2 is 5, plus 1 is 6. And it is a positive 6 because they were all positives. We don't put the plus sign in front of it. We're just going to do 6a. And then let's put together our constants, our numbers without variables. So we have a negative 1 and a positive 3. They have different signs, so therefore we're subtracting. 3 minus 1 is 2. And it is going to be a positive because the 3 has a greater absolute value. So plus 2, and then this is my answer. 6a plus 2. Number 6. I hope that you are not just copying and you're trying each on your own. Please don't forget. Perimeter, we're going to add up all the sides. So we have 4x minus 3 plus 4h plus 6 plus 2x plus 5h. Okay, we have 4x, negative 3, not the same because it doesn't have a variable, plus 4h. Oh, that's not the same as either one of those because it has an h and not an x. Okay, plus 6 is going to be like my negative 3 because they do not have the same, or they do not have a variable. plus 2x is like my positive 4x, and plus 5h is like my plus 4h. Okay, so we're going to put together our like terms. We're putting together the same shapes. So we have h comes before x, so let's start with our h's. So our coefficients are positive 4 and positive 5. Same signs we add. Keep that sign, so positive 9, h. Then our x's, so we have positive 4 and positive 2. Same sign, add. We get a positive 6, so we're going to do plus 6x. And then finally our constants are numbers without variables, so we have negative 3, positive 6. They have different signs, so we're going to subtract. 6 minus 3 is 3. Keep the sign of the greater absolute value, so it is going to be a plus 3. Okay, we had 3 different shapes. We have 3 different terms. None of them are like terms, so I can't do anything more. And this is my answer. Okay, number 7. Which expressions are equivalent to the expression shown below? Select all that apply. Okay, so we are given an expression. It does have like terms, so let's put together our like terms and see what it would be in simplest form. A and B are both in simplest form. They could not be combined, so maybe one of them is our expression in simplest form. So we have positive 30, positive 6y, negative 6y, 12y, sorry, and negative 15. So there will be 2 terms, so A and B both have those 2 terms, so let's see which one is correct. So we're going to start with the one that has the variable. So we have a positive 6 and a negative 12. They're different signs, so we're subtracting. Keep the sign of the greater absolute value. So we have negative 6. So far it's looking like this one, negative 6y. And then we have our constants, positive 30 and a negative 15. They have different signs, so we are subtracting. Keep the sign of the greater absolute value. So we have a positive 15, which is what we have right here. So A is a correct answer. So therefore B cannot be a correct answer because the 6y there is positive. Okay, so C, we need to do the distributive property because we cannot do 2y minus 5 to be able to see if it is equivalent. So we have negative 3 and 2y minus 5. Negative 3 times positive 2 is negative 6y. And negative 3 times, and remember this is a negative 5, got to think of that sign in front of it. So we have a negative times a negative, which is a positive. 2 negatives is a positive. And then 3 times 5 is 15. So negative 6y plus 15, which is what A was. So therefore, C is also correct. Okay, D. Oh, inside of those parentheses, we do have some like terms, so we could combine our like terms, or we could just distribute. Either one would be fine. We could distribute and then combine like terms, or we can combine like terms and then distribute. Either would be fine. So let's look at D. We can do times 10 plus 2y minus 4y minus 5. So we actually can do some of the stuff that's in the parentheses, so let's do that since that's what we're more used to. So we have our positive 10 and our -5 that we can put together. And then we have positive 2y and -4y. So 3 times 10 and -5, positive 10 and -5, have different signs, so we're subtracting, keep the sign of the greater absolute value, gives me 5. And then positive 2 and -4 are coefficients for the y's. Different signs, subtract, keep the sign on the greater absolute value. So we have a -2. So we have -2y. Okay, so let's do that distributive property. 3 times 5 is a positive 15. And 3 times a negative 2y is going to be a negative 6y. Okay, it is in a different order. However, the 6y is negative and the 15 is positive, which is what we had as our first answer for A. So D is also a correct answer. Okay. E, nothing in the parentheses is alike, so we cannot combine them, so we just can do the distributive property. To start out, so 3 times 10 is 30. 3 times positive 2y is a positive 6y. Now this is a negative 3 because it said -3. Keep in mind that sign. So -3 times 4y is a negative 12y. And -3 times a -5 is a positive 15. Now we can put together our like terms. So we have a positive 30. Positive 6y. Negative 12y. And a positive 15. Okay, so when we're putting together our y's, we have negative 12y, positive 6y, different signs, subtract, keep the sign of the greater absolute value, so we have negative 6y. So far, so good. And then when we put together our constants, I did that in the wrong colors backwards. When we put together our constants, we have 30 and 15, and we would be adding them because they have the same sign, which would be 45, so this one is not equivalent. And then the last one, we cannot do what's inside of the parentheses, so the only thing we can do is distribute. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times y is 6y. Negative 3 times 4, because that is a negative 3, is a minus or negative 12y, and negative 3 times a positive 15 is a negative 15. So we have the same thing as we did on the other one, except for this time we have minus 15 instead of plus 15. So this one is going to work, because we have positive 30 and a negative 15, which would mean we would subtract. Positive 6y and negative 12y, we would subtract because they have different signs. So we have positive 30, positive negative 15, so we're subtracting. We get 15, positive though. And then we have positive 6 and negative 12, different signs, subtract, keep the sign of the greater absolute value. So negative 6y plus 15, which was equivalent to the simplest form. That's why it's great to find the simplest form for this first, because it helped us with all of the other ones. So that one would be equivalent as well. Number 8, which expression is equivalent to the expressions below? Show your work. Okay, inside of the parentheses, we cannot do that. So the next step is exponents, which we don't have. Then we have multiplication and division. We have that multiplication, so negative 4.5 times positive 4. So we had 4.5 times 4, which would give me 18. And it would be negative because there was one negative that we were multiplying. So negative 18. And then negative 4.5 times a negative 2.5. I'm going to have a positive because there's two negatives that I'm multiplying by. So this is a negative. Don't forget that sign in front. 4.5 times 2.5 is 11.25. 11.25 m. And then we have minus 5.5 m because it was not inside the parentheses. Put together our like terms. So we have to have that minus 18 or that negative 18 in there because it does not have any like terms. All four of them have that minus 18 in them, so that doesn't really help me eliminate anything. And then my other two like terms, we have a positive 11.25 and we have a negative 5.5. So therefore I am going to be subtracting because they have two different signs. You would line up your decimals. Okay. Put a placeholder there, or we'll just use our calculator. 11.25 and 5.5. I already had that in the calculator. Minus 5.5 equals 5.75. 5.75. And it is going to be a positive 5.75. So D is our correct answer. Number 9. We have a fraction on the outside, but let's not worry about that. It is not a hard fraction, so let's not think it is. We have 1/4 times 20. So we are doing 1/4 times 20. Put our whole number over 1 is 20 over 4. It's an improper fraction, so it is going to give me a whole number. 20 divided by 4 is 5. So this is just 5. Really is 20 divided by 4. So we need to do 1/4 times 12x. So times 12. 1 times 12 is 12. 4 times 1 is 4. Improper fraction, so when I divide, I am getting a whole number. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So that was a positive 3x. And 1/4 times negative 4. 1/4 times 4 over 1 is 4 over 4, which is 1. And it was going to be a negative, so we're going to do minus 1. Okay, we do have our constants are the same, so we do need to combine those. So 5 and negative 1, positive 5, negative 1, different signs. Subtract, keep the positive sign because it has a greater absolute value. So our answer would be 3x plus 4 because we write our expression with the variable number first. Number 10, the expression x plus 7, x plus 6, x plus 7, x plus 6 represents the perimeter of the larger pond. Which expression is equivalent to the expression for the perimeter of the larger pond? Okay, so let's put it in simplest form first. So we have x, 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 and x. And I know what you're thinking about the distributive property with the parentheses, but everything was a plus, so it's not going to end up, those parentheses don't really do anything. They're just there for grouping. There isn't, the distributive property wouldn't change anything. If we distributed plus times a plus, we're still going to get plus. And plus times a positive 6 is still going to be a plus 6. So we have 4 x's there. And then we have positive 7, positive 6, positive 7, positive 6. So 7 and 7 is 14. 6 and 6 is 12. So 14 plus 12 is 26. So plus 26. So E is correct. Okay. Let's look at A. We have 2 groups of x plus 7. We do have that. We have 2 groups of x plus 7. Plus, we also have 2 groups of x plus 6. So A is going to be a correct one, but we can check it. 2 times x would be 2x. 2 times 7 would be 14. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 6 is 12. I didn't put the x. So we have 2x plus 2x, which is 4x. And then we have positive 14 and positive 12, which is a positive 26. So that's proving it is correct. Okay, B is not correct because we would be saying that we have 2 groups of x plus 7 times x plus 6. So let's just prove that. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 7 is 14. And then we're multiplying that times x plus 6. So then you're doing 2x and then plus 14x and 14 times 6. But we already know at the 14x that can't possibly be the answer because we only had 4x. So B is not a correct answer. Okay. C, 2 times 2x would be 4x. And 2 times 13 would be 26. So plus 26. So that one is correct. And then D is the same kind of issue that B was. 4 times x is 4x. But if you notice, we still have this other x, and there's nothing negative, so it's not going to take it away. And that's as much as we could have on x. So D is not a correct answer either. Lastly, number 11, which of the following are equivalent to 5, open parentheses, m plus 3, close parentheses, minus 2m. So m plus 3 we cannot do. They are not like terms, so we can just do the distributive property. So let's put it in simplest form first, and then go see if we can find the ones that are equivalent. So 5 times m is 5m. 5 times positive 3 is a positive 15. And then we have minus the 2m. And B is what we just wrote. So B is equivalent. So the first step was actually one of our answers. Okay, let's combine our like terms. We have positive 5m and negative 2m. And then we know it has to have the plus 15 because that's not anywhere else. So C and D both have plus 15. So let's put together, we have positive 5 as our coefficient and negative 2. Different signs subtract. Keep the sign of the greater absolute value. So we have a positive 3m plus 15. So D. So we can't have a negative 5m, so that cannot be an answer. Let's look at A. So we have positive 5 plus m plus 3 minus 2m. So combine our like terms. Positive 5, positive 3 is a positive 8. Is they're both. I should have done the other thing first. The m's. Okay. So we have positive m and negative 2m. They have different signs. Positive 1, negative 2, different signs. We're subtracting. Keep the sign of the greater absolute value. So we have negative 1. So we have negative m plus 8. So that is not correct. And then let's see on this last one. 5 times m is 5m. So we have negative 2m plus 5m. And negative 5 times 3 is, positive 5 times 3 is a positive 15. Okay, so let's see. That's actually the same as as B. It's just in a different order. It's starting with the negative 2m, and then it has the plus 5 and the plus 15. Wait. No, it's not. That's not the same. Oh, I missed an M. There we go. That M was supposed to be there. Okay, so now it's the same because we have the plus 15 that we needed, and then negative 2m and positive 5m, different signs. It's going to make us subtract. So we have negative 2, positive 5, different signs, subtract, keep the sign of the greater absolute value. So this is 3m plus 15. And it was also just in a different order than this. So E was also a correct answer. Okay, I hope that helps. I hope that you were successful, and good luck. Go back and try any that you made a mistake on and see if you can do it correctly this time. Bye.